Hi, and welcome to lesson number 5 in module 2 about business planning. And in this video, or in this lesson, we will talk about cost structure. The previous videos talked about unique selling proposition, resources, activities, partners, and partnerships. But in this video, we will talk about cost structure, because all of the topics that we talked about in the previous lessons sum up to expenses. So my question to you is, where is your costs and how big are them? Expenses come with product development and service development, and in the process of developing a product or developing a service, you perform or you require certain resources, and you also require to do and perform activities, as well as making partners and establishing partnerships. And all of these things, they have a cost to it. And that is what I want you to use this lesson for, to lay out your costs and map your costs and your expenses so that you see how much you have to make in order to go in profits. So there are, as mentioned, costs are created by resources, activities, and partners or partnerships. And we'll go into each one of these now. But before that, when creating a product, if you will be making money or not, it is a simple equation. You have your costs and you want them to be lower than your revenue or than your income. So we will take a look at the different factors that generate expenses and which is a part of your cost structure right now. So the first one is resources. Resources make you both make you money, but they also often you have to pay money for resources. And these could be resources like a physical location, like a physical store if you have a product-based business where you sell a physical product. Then you need a physical shop. But there's another aspect to the physical location, which is where you reside and where your business is. Where's your business quarters? Do you use your home, or do you actually have an office? And this office is a link to expenses due to rent or if you buy it. So there are two aspects to physical location. It is both the office expenses and it is also the shop expenses. So calculating those are important. The next one both include physical and product-based and service-based businesses, but it is most likely to be the highest for service-based businesses. And that is websites and servers, domain hosting, servers to run the service on, and so on. For physical or product-based businesses, it is simply a website where you can purchase the product, most likely. And that's it. That's the only expense. But for service-based businesses, which base their entire operation online, they need they need a better website, they need more functionality, they need servers to host the service, and the entire website and service expenses are a lot higher due to requiring higher performance. Another one, which both includes product and service-based businesses, is marketing budget. You need to have a capital, you need to have money and a budget to do marketing. And this is one of the resources. There are more resources that create expenses, but these are the ones that I decided to mention in this lesson. So physical location, website and service, and marketing budget are some of the resources that create an expense for you and your business. So the next one is activities, because performing different activities can result in expenses as well. And if you let's say that you have a product-based business and you create shoes or have a clothing brand. The first expense you will have is the design. So you have to go out, hire a designer, and the designer create a design for the product. But this costs money. So we have one expense there. And then the next part is actual production with a manufacturer. The production of the product costs money. So that's another expense. And as mentioned previously in a previous lesson, if you have a service-based business, you need to have a support team. And if you decide to outsource the support team to, let's say, India, that's another expense. It is an activity that you outsource it, and they perform the job for you. That's an activity. Another one is active research and development. I know I haven't mentioned R&D prior to this lesson, but research and development is basically researching, continuing development of product and service, and staying ahead of your competition in the evolution game. And this is something you do. It is an activity that you do on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis, and it costs you money because you have to set aside resources to perform this specific activity. So these are different activities that you have to perform and in order to create and run your product and run your business, but they also generate expenses. So the next one is partners, and partnerships can cost money. There are different types of partnerships, and you have some that don't cost money and you have some that cost money. You have among them, you have alliances, and you have different types of alliances. You have ownership-based or alliances that include ownership and alliances that doesn't include ownership. Joint ventures is an alliance that includes ownership but also includes expenses because you come together, you both partners add in money to create a budget that they do or use to create the joint venture. You also have something called swaps, which basically is that the different partners invest a certain amount of money into each other's businesses and become owners of each other's businesses and goes from there. You have non-ownership partnerships or alliances such as franchising. And franchises, if you want to get into a franchise, you need to pay money to get into it. And most of the money also goes back to the franchise owner or the franchisor. So this is a type of alliance that costs you money. Another one that costs you money is licensing. Let's say that you license the rights to use a certain technological solution in your products. Then that's a partnership that generates expenses because you have to pay. You either have to do a one-time payment or a recurring payment. So partnerships can actually generate expenses, and these are expenses you have to calculate and add into your equation that we will be talking about at the end of this video. So you have to think about partnerships and how they both can benefit you and also what expenses they actually generate. So your goal with the cost structure is to have lower expenses than what you generate a revenue. So you want to decrease the costs for resources, you want to decrease the cost for activities, and you want to decrease the cost of partners and partnerships. And by decreasing all of these costs, you can increase the profit that you make on top. So it is really important to think about all the expenses that you have or calculate what your expenses will be, and then move over to see how should I price my product or service so that I make a profit. and so that my expenses are lower than what my total revenue is. That is really important. So what I want you to do now is go through your resources, your activities, and your partners, and list what expenses and how much they would cost you to have. After you've done that, I want you to scroll below this video and click the next lesson button, which is about the customer segment, which is a really important and essential part in the entire module.